Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk, back another video day, and today the Cleveland Browns have fired offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey after such a terrible season, going 3-14. 100% the right move here to make by the Cleveland Browns. It was a tough year for this team. Offense, Ken Dorsey's offense only averaged 15 points per game, only 29 touchdowns. It's way worse compared to last season. Last season, the Browns' offense averaged 23 points per game with 42 touchdowns. And that was when their offense was being ran by head coach Kevin Stefanski. And I think that's where you have to ask yourself, Kevin Stefanski, Browns head coach, who's been a good play caller in his Browns tenure, is it time for Kevin Stefanski to return to being the play caller? Because this Browns offense last season averaged 23 points per game, was the best wild card team in the AFC playoffs last year, with a backup quarterback in Joe Flacco. Kevin Stefanski's offense averaged 23 points per game. They scored 42 touchdowns. They had 325 first downs. Their third down efficiency was 31%, which you compare that to this year's Cleveland Browns team, there's not much of a difference. It's 29%, but it was just a bad year for this Cleveland Browns team offensively. And look, I know quarterback, it's a big issue, right? Which I don't think there's a quarterback and offensive line or player wise. We're going to talk about players on this team. I really think that player wise, that's really the only issue with this offense. It's the quarterback position and the O line. But what I think is a way bigger issue was the offensive coordinator, Ken Dorsey. The offensive line is terrible, and I think it showed. With whoever was playing quarterback, whether it was Deshaun Watson, whether it was Bailey Zappi, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, or Jameis Winston. But I thought the play calling was absolutely terrible by Ken Dorsey and much better with Kevin Stefanski the year before. You go to last season. Like, I know Joe Flacco played some great football last year to end off the season, went on a great run. Amazing end of the year last year by Joe Flacco, for sure. I don't think anybody's going to tell you different. But the quarterback play, I thought last year was a lot better. Like, you had a guy like P.J. Walker, an XFL guy, a guy who didn't have a lot of starting experience, came in, started a couple games, looked pretty solid. I thought Dorian Thompson-Robinson last year looked a lot better last year than he did this year. And we're comparing Dorian Thompson-Robinson rookie year having a couple starts compared to this year having a couple starts. I thought he looked a lot better. Even you want to go to Deshaun Watson. I'm not going to praise last year's Deshaun Watson because I didn't think Deshaun Watson played too well last year. But I think Deshaun Watson played a lot better football last year than he did this year, 100%. I thought he played a lot of better football last year than he did this year. And had a lot of better moments. And I think a big part of that is who was calling the plays. And who was that? That was Kevin Stefanski, the head coach. You switch to Ken Dorsey, this offense completely takes a downgrade. This offense, I think, is perfect. At the wide receiver position, you had Jerry Jeudy, who has turned into a stud for this Cleveland offense. Elijah Moore is a stud as well. You're pretty set up at the tight end position with David Njoku and Jordan Akins. At the running back position, you got a 1-2 punch if both can stay healthy, and Jerome Ford and Nick Chubb. This is a good offense. The only problem is a quarterback, offensive line, and a play caller. And it's going to be pretty easy for Cleveland to fix that this offseason. You have the number 2 overall pick. You can just draft a quarterback, whether it's Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. Have them back up Deshaun Watson to start off year. Eventually, Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders takes over from Deshaun Watson in the 2025 season. Just have Kevin Stefanski take over the play calling again. Offensive line, you can draft the offensive line. You can make a trade. You can sign somebody. You can improve the offensive line. It's really not that hard. I think the hardest part to fix this Cleveland Browns team is the offensive line. Like the play calling and the quarterback, it's an easy fix. All you got to do is just revert back to your head coach being the play caller, draft the quarterback at number 2, and try to find other ways to improve the offensive line throughout the offseason, whether it's through free agency or whether it's through the trade market or it's the draft. And if the Cleveland Browns do that, if the Cleveland Browns get the quarterback they need, get the right play caller, which is their head coach, if you ask me, improve their offensive line, maybe make some defensive improvements. I wouldn't say the Browns are contenders next year, but the Browns are definitely a team that could be in the bubble for a wild card spot in the AFC next year if they make those improvements. But I'm telling you, next year the Browns, if they do that kind of stuff, like draft a quarterback, which is 100% going to happen, switch play caller back to Stefanski, improve the offensive line, make some improvements on defense, the Browns will go from 3 wins to around 7 to 9, if you ask me. So let me know which going from 3 to 7 to 9 wins is going from 3 to an area of 7 to 9 is it's just a huge improvement, if you ask me. But let me know your thoughts on the Browns firing offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey in the comment section, and peace out.